it's MIB, Craig, aka Mr. Impact Vlog for the TNAW channel. And we are back with another episode of What Went Down. And you can also see Jeff is back. The face of the TNAW channel is back.
Aww. You're so sweet, Craig. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. It's been an interesting 2 weeks. So you held down the fort both. Was it past two that you? Yeah, we skipped one rather.
Yeah.
But we're back in Victory Road. We just saw that, and obviously one episode of Impact. So we got a lot to talk about. So I won't go on my normal tangent and rants right now, but I will say we have a lot to talk about and some cool stuff at the end that we're updating and coming along, and we'll announce the first winner again of the first subscription box, which is sending out tomorrow, and it's awesome. So excited for that. Are we good?
Yeah. Apologies for the issues once again. My Wi-Fi sucks, but we'll soldier through as best we can. Say you mentioned Victory Road there. So just before we get into the main event, we'll go through the results of Victory Road from the past Saturday. We had the Rascals defeating Triple XL, Brian Myers defeating Tommy Dreamer, William Mack defeating Rohit Raju via countout, Tennille Dashwood defeating Jordan Grace, Heath and Rhino defeat Reno Scum, Trey defeats Moose, Josh Alexander, Ace Austin and Carl Anderson, John Perazzo defeats Susie, and Eric Young defeats Eddie Edwards.
Yeah, enjoyable show, and I'll touch on it as we weave in between this episode of Impact and Access TV, simply because a lot of that lineup happened again, but a lot of fallout and build to Bound for Glory, which some interesting things that I don't know will change the card or not, but some intriguing things to debate, so it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. Victory Road was incredible. The four-way was match of the night for me.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, hands down.
I remember you writing, or when you wrote me, I was like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to the two that you think that you mentioned are match of the night and or match of the year. And I was looking at it, I was like, okay, what would Craig think? And I thought that was one of them, but I don't want to. What was the second?
I got Deanna and Susie.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought so. The story time was flawless.
I thought you came to the dark side. I thought it was Tennille versus Jordan, which I thought was phenomenal. But
not a chance would I have chosen Tennille in any sense of match of the night. No way.
It was her best showing since she started. So I'll say it.
I don't know. I just felt it was a slight carry job.
Okay, fair enough.
It was a bit.
I thought they found their groove in the middle there, but we'll see.
Okay, so I think before my Wi-Fi completely cuts out again, we'll get straight into Impact from this week. The opening match being Tommy Dreamer defeating Brian Myers by disqualification. When this match came, like, okay, let's get it over with. I didn't particularly care.
Yeah, the pay-per-view, the Victory Road there. I thought I was pleasantly surprised by the match. I thought it was to the point. It had a good back and forth. It didn't make Tommy Dreamer look old, and it didn't make Brian Myers look weak, or like he was beating a nobody. So it did its job there. I think when you go again with the same thing, I hope it's just a way to squash that feud. My thing with Brian Myers, well, let me touch on Tommy Dreamer first. I used to complain about Tommy Dreamer and say, oh, they put him in everything, but I've come around to the simple idea, and I've said this before, that he is the Terry Funk of ECW or the Undertaker of the WWE. Now, I know that's Undertaker, but oh, we froze.
And we're back.
We're gonna have to do a lot of editing. But I don't want the Undertaker of Impact, but in that way, to where he is the veteran that kind of keeps people in line, or goes out there and teaches people a lesson and goes over, I think in that regards, he's filling that role nicely. And they found a sweet spot for him as far as how he is used. So I don't mind that so much. But at the same time, it's kind of like when RVD was brought out prior to this, is just like, okay, let's hope for the best, right? But with Brian Myers, I want to like Brian Myers, and I do like a lot of things that he's showing. The problem, yet again, is it feels like a quick throwaway feud, I guess, for him being just to get him on the show. And my problem with that is it's night and day from what Heath is for me, and I think I mentioned that before. And maybe it was Brian was a late addition. Maybe it wasn't always in the plans, or if it was, that they had to force something together quickly for one reason or another, injury or whatever it may be. But I just don't think he's living to the full potential of what he can be, because in the ring he's a talented dude. He is smooth. He is one of the best professional wrestlers that we have on the roster. And I really can say that because I watch his work, and no matter who he's facing, it's a very smooth, clean, everything matters that he does. I really dig all that. Every pin he makes, like they said, it is quality. So in that regards, I just wish, and I always make up these ideas of what the character could be. I don't know what to put him in that would show his full potential. But I can say that this isn't it.
No, I mean, I agree with the sense that the potential for Myers is there. It's definitely there, but with the Tommy Dreamer thing, you're referring to him as like an Undertaker type figure backstage, where he controls the locker room, he teaches respect and all that. I agree in some sense. Part I don't necessarily agree with is on screen playing that role. I don't, because when was the last time Tommy Dreamer actually won a match clean? And he really be the one to put them over when he's losing all the time.
That's fair. That's a fair point. We don't have that veteran right now unless a Sting or an Angle come along that can fill that role. So in that regards, he is the closest we have to that on screen. I see your point, though.
But I want to make it very clear, I love Tommy Dreamer. I think he's one of the absolute best in terms of what he's done, as in building ECW to where it was. Nothing but respect. And I think he's one of the... It's nice to have him. It's nice to know he's backstage at Impact.
Yeah.
Very nice to know he's backstage. Then I just disclaimer: I have took out some scenes from the show that don't really make much sense or didn't need to be seen that much. So I'll just go very quickly. Johnny Bravo backstage with his groomsmen. I don't know what you call them now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he wants money from the roster, from his groomsmen to pay for the wedding. Fowler has a plan to get the money, which is pretty obvious what it's going to be, but we'll put it together. Yeah. Fowler Bar steals the money from Hernandez whilst Hernandez is taking a shower. What can you say?
It is what it is. I obviously love, I've mentioned that multiple times on here and on the podcast, that I like the Hernandez role of someone being there, the money guy. So it's a character that's needed. I'm not over the wedding idea. I like the fact that we're including multiple characters that need screen time, just like Wrestle House did. I thought we would lose a lot of those people, but we haven't, and I'm excited for that. But these little segments, if they don't hit, they don't hit. And it was nice, and it is what it is. It was a nice little piece, but did it do anything for me? Not really. Not really.
Yeah. Bravo. I liked everyone involved in that segment. I mean, it's not much to talk about there. It's, I'd like to say it did what it needed to do, but mm, because, but I hope it's not going to take a spot above for Glory, which I have a feeling it might.
Yeah, I'm
I
with you
hope it's
there.
not going to take a spot above. We move on. Arguably one of the best segments of the show, the Defeat Rohit Challenge. With it was first accepted by Willie Mack. Rohit made it clear that Willie is not eligible anymore for this challenge. As for a fresh challenger, and out comes former Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. Wow. I mean, just wow.
And we predicted it.
Yeah. Apparently so.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. I agree with you. It was a very, I don't want to say cheap pop, because I didn't it wasn't something that I think would normally pop me, but we had been debating, what does Jordan do now, and where does she fit? And Rohit, even though he's now that I know on the 40 side, he doesn't show it in his work, but he definitely shows it when he talks and what he does, and everything. Yeah, he has some things where he needed to connect the dots and all that, but I really think he's hit his stride with Impact. He's a coward champion, but at the same time, he's a tactician when it comes to keeping that belt, and there's something nice about that. There's something to, even if it's not for you or this person or that person, it's cool to have that character that you really want to get beaten. Like, that is something that is missing in a lot in wrestling, because we cower to the online whatever. But I think a lot of people are like this open challenge thing. We almost had another rematch from Victory Road. Obviously wasn't accepted. Really weird situation for Willie, but obviously he's part of what is to follow at Bound for Glory. I love that it was Jordan Grace, because another thing we debate quite often on the podcast is the intergender wrestling, and where does it play in? Does it still play in? Does the world title and tag team titles play into that? And I think personally the answer is no. I think the window of opportunity for that was with Tessa. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But I think, and Josh said it, and if Josh had not said it the way he did, I probably wouldn't be saying what I am now. The X Division was always about no limits, not weight limits, not gender limits, not size or race or anything else. It's just, can you go? And Jordan,
Exactly.
and I think that's a brilliant idea on management's part, to slowly make that belt what it always was and what it could be, which is, you hold it, you defend it, you rock it, and you fight your ass off, whatever it takes. And I think we're getting to see different styles of that now. Yeah, we have the Willie who can go and is great, wrestler. You have Rohit, who's the coward. You have Jordan, who's a knockout that's now taking her chance here. TJP, who's on a different level. They're building that X division, and this was a clear cut showing of that. I completely dug it, loved it. Didn't care that she won then lost. Great stuff.
Right, exactly. I mean, I saw, obviously, as soon as Jordan came out, I was going through Twitter, and obviously it triggered a lot of people, especially when Impact posted the picture of Jordan Grace holding the belt. That triggered a lot of people.
Negatively?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all full of, the usual hate for intergender wrestling.
Sure.
But see, I've always been a huge advocate of intergender wrestling. I think people will say, "Oh, it has to be done right. It has to be done." I don't. Everything needs to be done right, yes, but I don't care if it's Jordan Grace versus Rohit. I don't need it to be believable. It's pro wrestling. Nothing is believable. We have a dead man, a man you can't see. We have all that, and people are complaining that a woman pinned a man. They need to get over themselves a little bit. I don't get the hate for it.
Now, also on top of that, really quick to add to your point, we're also talking about Jordan Grace, who can deadlift the two of us on a bad day. So I don't want to. It's yes. I didn't know that was the outcome. Obviously, you ran the live tweets on Tuesday, but that's just silly. I get where they're coming from. I understand it, but the problem with that is that you can't pick and choose what you want to believe or believe in. It's not real. Does it hurt? Yeah, it hurts. Does it all that stuff? Yes, I respect it completely. We wouldn't be doing this if we don't respect the sport of professional wrestling. But at the same time, it's entertainment and it's a TV show, and it's an awesome place for Jordan Grace to get an opportunity to show what she can do. I'm sorry. I think Jordan Grace adds a tremendous amount to this match. And honestly, if you took out Willie Mack and all them and you just made it Rohit versus Jordan, I still would say it's believable that Jordan beats Rohit. And that's not a slight on Rohit. It's just the character versus what presented of each. It makes sense.
Exactly. Jordan could legitimately hurt anyone. If she wanted to, she can lift who she wants, she can do what she wants to. Is so one of the most powerful knockouts there's been since Kong.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I don't get the hate for it. It's obviously intergender wrestling is a whole other subject, but I've never had a problem with it. I like it. It doesn't matter who wins to me. It doesn't. I don't need it to be believable because it's pro wrestling.
Right.
Then shout out to Scott D'Amore as well, who is so good in backstage with Rohit. I think Scott D'Amore is so good. I like the fact that he's getting more involved.
He needed
yeah.
He needed to, and I'll touch on that. I was going to wait for the Heath thing, but I'll make that more about Heath. Are you hearing me clearly, or are we cutting back and back?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. So I'll say it now. Until the Rohit thing, yes, there was little things in between. But Scott needed to be put on TV because we've always debated about an authority figure, right? But authority figure, to me, when people say that in the derogatory sense, oh, it's an authority figure. Oh no, that means to me that they're going to the ring and making the segments about them. They're choosing out, all this. It's not what he's doing. He's just right now, he's the law of the land and he's making it happen. He's more of a producer than he is this is my building, my business. He's not really like that, which I think makes it different in fun, in a breath of fresh air. On the flip side, or not the flip side, but on a different note, until Rohit, and yeah, there's a couple things in between, Scott D'Amore has only interacted with mainly the free agents or the storylines that involve the free agents that just came. Okay. He got pushed by Eric Young. He is obviously involved with the Good Brothers. He's been involved with Heath, obviously, today. He came out and stopped Myers this week. I don't know anything more than you know or anyone else. Well, obviously, people work there know. There just has to be something where Scott is involved in something more than just. I mean, look, he's even telling Moose to chill out because the EC3 is not really their bullshit. So he's interacting with all of these free agents. There has to be something to that. And if there's not, I'm still okay with Scott doing what he's doing. But if there is, and they've all been just slowly peppering in the seeds and planting the seeds for something we've all clamored for, either Team Canada or Aces and Eights or some new brand of thing not called Retribution. We've been talking about this for months. I think Bound for Glory, especially when Rich keeps getting attacked and hurt, there has to be more to this. I'm excited and intrigued to see what comes of it. And if nothing does, I'm still happy with what he's doing. So kudos to Scott D'Amore. on that. And then on top of that, if something big comes out of this, where Heath and Myers and Good Brothers and EC3 and Eric Young are all some kind of some group that Scott brought in to destroy whatever bullshit. Because remember, we're not seeing Don Callis a lot, so there has to be something coming. I don't know what, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I think there's something coming. But as for the just quickly touch on Scott D'Amore again, I always used to say when they first came in and Don was on commentary, and when something would break down in the ring and attacks or whatever, I always used to say Scott and Don, not all the time, but they need to remind people that they're in charge.
Right.
I think that's what it needs, just to remind them that they're in charge. Like, there's someone there to rule the show. And also with the Eddie and EY situation, again, jump into that. But if you think that something's happening there, I had the feeling of a special enforcer.
Okay.
Potentially, I don't know. See, because I'm going back to Bound for Glory from a few years ago. A special enforcer is, I don't think a couple, but my thinking is Kurt Angle. I don't know why I had Kurt in my back of my mind, a special enforcer for that match. It wouldn't make any sense, but I had that.
For me, and I know we're getting off subject, but I got to touch on it. I think it's a foregone conclusion. I said that since day one of free agency, that Kurt Angle will be back with Impact in some role or another. And the reason I'm so adamant about that is because I think Kurt Angle is very aware of his legacy and what Impact TNA meant to him in that legacy. Going to an AEW now or ROH or insert place here or back to doesn't really do much for that, right? It puts him in front of some eyes, cool. But at the end of the day, when you're on the tail end of your career, do you want to be known for getting a last cheap pop, or do you want to be known for creating something that that matters and helped move something forward? And I think that's what he would want to do. And the fact that Heath even mentioned Olympic gold medalist, and we've had little hints of Angle throughout. I mean, Brian Myers' introductions to Coming were Angle, right? So I think at the end of the day, we'll see that. I think more so we'll see maybe Eddie and Angle versus Shamrock and Sammy. But I agree with you there as far as Angle being involved with Bound for Glory. It's just we've said that months in the making. I know we'll talk more on Is Talking Bound for Glory that we announced this week, which we're really excited about. But I can't wait to hear that music. And if he somehow comes through the ramp like he used to do, through that lift,
they can make that happen.
Worth the price of admission. Worth the price of admission.
Yes, for sure. I was going to pass on mine then, but moving on to a lot of tag team matches during this show.
As usual, yeah.
The Rascals defeating Triple XL, which did annoy me.
Did it?
It annoyed me, yes. I want the Rascals to win because they do need to win. Right. But I don't want. But XL should be one of the most dominant teams. They are the. If you think of a pro wrestling tag team dominant force, they should be in that. If you look in the dictionary, that should be the definition of a dominant tag team. They're getting. I don't want to say they're getting jobbed out because it's not that bad, but they need to start winning more. And a win over the Rascals maybe wouldn't have done too much, but it would have done some good to get them to another level.
Okay, so I'm with you in your overall thought process with this. As far as this episode, I think this episode did more for Triple XL than all of their months combined. And that was during a loss. The reason for me is, yes, I agree with you. They should be a dominant tag team. But the problem with that is when you are in charge, right, and you want these guys to put it all together and get their look right, get in shape, get their moves together. These guys weren't a tag team on the indies. I don't even know if they know each other. Maybe they do. You have to build that chemistry. And if you put a tag team and you say they are the excellence of execution, right? I'll steal that from Bret Hart. They are the top of the line. They are the most dominant tag team. And yet they don't look like they should be a tag team yet. They don't have the music and the intro and the gear and the moves and all of that ready to be that dominant tag team. I don't think you could do it. And I think they built them. Yeah, it's been a slow build, but this episode primarily is the one that I said, oh shit, these guys are for real. Because not only do they have, they're getting in shape as far as where they need to be healthy, I imagine, is what the goal is with AC Romero. I don't think it's a movement thing. I think he could go already. Maybe it's a sustainability thing, but they looked the part. Their gear looked good together. Their entrance video looked right. Their music fit them. Their movements, they're starting to understand what Triple XL is. And the more that they form that and they realize that and they are that gimmick, the more we'll believe them and the more they'll win. So I think their time is coming. As far as the Rascals go, does this win do much for them? Nah, it doesn't. At the same time, was it the best showing from the feud of them two? Yes, I agree. I think this was the best showing that they've had, even though it was a TV match. And victory. In match standpoint, I liked this episode. Now, the only thing I will say about the Rascals is it can't be put up or shut up time because they're not involved in that 4-way match at Bound for Glory. But man, they need to put it all together. And I feel that Triple XL is, from point A of coming out to point B of finishing the match, even if it's losing. The Rascals, we know their characters, but everything just doesn't gel for some reason. And I think they're very likable. Their gimmick could very well be over. It already is over. I have their shirt. I mean, it's not like we don't like the Rascals. It's just they're missing something.
See, I could talk about what I think is missing for the Rascals, and it would be that they're pushing the wrong single star.
Dez should be by himself.
Dez. Put him in the X division and watch that take off. I mean, I've seen them all tag in as many combinations as you can get from them, and arguably Trey and Wentz seem to be should be the tag team going after the belts. Dez should be in that X Division title picture. I've said it since day one, and he did debut in the X Division in an X Division title match. And he did win the Super X Cup, which just went to nothing. Yeah, one title match and just went to nothing.
Well, I think that was a little more backstage things than anything else. I don't know. I won't put my name on that, but I think there was something that disrupted his growth there, and maybe it was Jeff Jarrett leaving or whatever. We could speculate all day. I agree with you in the sense that Dez right now is the better single star. I think from a business aspect, though, you look at it and you say, okay, Wentz and Trey are pretty much the same age, pretty similar, young guys, right? Long term, they have a better trajectory because you're getting them on their rookie contracts, and then you extend them, and you build them up. They're with you for the long haul. They could be with this for a decade. Now, Dez could as well. Dez is great. But Dez is also a veteran. I think he's my age. I think he's in the early 30s. So, maybe they needed, for whatever reason, Wentz to have someone he can be with that, is that veteran or whatever it may be. I don't know. I don't want to get into all of that per se. But I see where you're coming from. I just think that it's an easy fix with the Rascals. Now that RVD's gone, we have another segment available for the Treehouse. So let's do that. Let's get these guys, if the comedy route is the route they're going, let's get them on those segments. We need to start building them. They need to get their gear right. They need to get their entrance is cool and stuff. The smoke coming out now, the music and all that, but none of it ties in. If you were to tell me one of these teams, and I never seen Impact before, I've never heard of it before, and I saw Triple XL come out and I saw the Rascals come out, I'd be intrigued by the Rascals, but I would say, damn, this Triple XL looks like a legit team.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, the Rascals aren't there yet for it. And I know gear is such a minute thing. When you're making a television show,
it's part of it all. It's a part of a package. You need everything for it to work.
Yeah, we could talk about
it. Yeah, I completely agree. I just want to make a quick little thing. I'm going to start a drinking game when I watch Impact. Every time Josh Matthews reminds us that Wentz could either chose MMA or pro wrestling, I'm going to take a shot. He says it every single match. So, and same with TJP. It reminds us that he got an offer from Bellator.
Well,
so I'm going to take a drink.
I hope he continues it for your sake so you could have a drink, but two, because you have to. I think it's smart on his part as a commentator to create the backstory of these guys to say they're legit, right? They're smaller guys, but we have to believe that they can mess someone up. I guess that's his way of doing it.
Yeah, maybe. It's just I know when it's coming as well, so I can just get ready. Then we go to the Foreman medical facility. With Dr. Ross being interviewed by Dr. Ross.
Dr. Ariel.
Jacobs. Oh, I forgot about Dr. Ariel. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Ross Foreman is now a doctor. It did what it needed to do. It continued the story. I'm more so intrigued of what the hell is going on with Bound for Glory main event. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of an enforcer if that's the route to keep it clean and down the middle. But I don't know if we're gonna even get to there. I don't know. I just feel like now all of my worries of if, and I've seen a couple people say this as well. Maybe it was Robbie in our chat group or what, but is Rich versus Eric Young a big enough match to main event Bound for Glory just by name value alone? It is not. Do I love both of those guys and think we'll get a good match if you just let them have a match? Yeah, we're going to get a pretty damn good match. But does it feel like a world championship match? And that's where we got to come across is, was this a black herring to get to something else? It's really close. It's really close with all of this, all of the promotional work already being done. Maybe it is the match we get. But I just have this gut feeling that something needs to happen. Because, come on, man. So Rich was out for how many months with a legit injury?
Just January, just for Hard to Kill.
Okay. Comes back, retires, gets attacked, right? Comes back, gets in a match, beats Eric Young, but loses the world title thing, gets attacked, right? So then he retires, gets attacked this time, how much damage could this man's leg get? Unless he's getting the storyline is he gets a prosthetic or metal leg or something that makes him some kind of superhuman. I don't understand where we're going with this. So I'm hoping there's something more, because if I'm supposed to believe that a one-legged Rich Swann could beat this maniac Eric Young, could he work the leg the whole match? Yeah. Do I want to see that for 20-minute plus main event? No. So I like the segment. It just puts in the back of my head of what am I doing? What are they doing? But we'll see.
So are you doubting the believability of Rich in the main event for the world, as a world champion, or is it the fact that the believability of the storyline where he's injured, can he compete?
It's more going. Could I believe that Rich beats Eric Young in a regular match? Yes, I can. I like Rich. I think he has potential to be heavyweight champion. I'm not really necessarily angry, or not angry, but thrown off by that. Am I that it's Bound for Glory and we're getting Rich Swann versus Eric Young? Yeah, I thought a bigger match would maybe be there, but I can look past that as well. What it's hard to look past is what you're mentioning, is that a one-legged Rich Swann is going to crawl back and beat Eric Young, who's batshit crazy and will do anything to win. there has to be something more, and if there's not, they need to tell a damn good story in that match.
Yeah, I mean, see, for me, with the match, you go back and look at Battle for Glories of the past, because main events. You start off with Sting, Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Johnny Impact versus Austin Aries, but at least said about that one. You go to Jeff Hardy, Austin Aries. Does this match have the same main event feel? I don't think it does. I love Rich Swann. I don't think this one has the same feeling.
I don't think you build a star in Rich Swann overnight like this. Now I know you could say it's a couple months in the making, but it feels really quickly thrown together. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's hard to say this because I love both of those guys, and I think Rich Swann could be our champion one day. It's just when you say that, Bound for Glory. Now, granted, yes, we look away on some of them. I was there for also Rude versus Angle in Philly, and that was pretty rough as well, disappointing. But those names still meant, that match still was like, oh, this is Rude's time because he won the Bound for Glory series. There was work put into that. Rich had a couple promos and got his leg broke. That's what he's getting a title shot for.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we're going. I'm going to be optimistic when it comes to this, but I agree with you in just terms of name value. I don't think we've had a main event this potentially when it comes to name value. Disappointing as when that one that almost didn't happen from Japan or whatever that garbage was. Tajiri.
Tajiri Muta versus Storm and Sonata. Yeah. Yeah, I'll play past that one. We'll wait and see if it does go ahead. And if it does go ahead, how a great match. I don't know if it's the one to take that next step forward and be the face of the company. Who knows?
Not this quickly and not at Bound for Glory. Like, yes, maybe next year, but this is too quick for me.
Yeah, we can't. Not right now. So we better try and get through these as quickly as possible, or else we're going to really, really, really overrun. We had a tag team action. Taya and Rosemary defeating Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan. Please, please, please let these Knockouts titles be tag titles be coming back. Please let them be coming back.
That's all I'm going to say here is I don't want to drag any other company, so I won't talk about that. But this is how you build a damn tag division, okay? In the matter of time, and I know I just mentioned about Triple XL, so I'll use that as a reference. We are getting that, what I saw today or Tuesday, with that Triple XL moment where they came out and I was like, oh, damn, this is a team, right? So we are now getting that with Taya and Rosemary, Nevaeh and Havoc. Definitely my girl Tasha and Kiera. Who else do we got? Kylie and Susie, Deonna and Kimberly. These are all entities that are now valuable commodities. We have teams that make sense and aren't forced and aren't random, and we're not bringing in one of the Funkadactyls to fill the gaps. We are doing this the right way. They are doing this the right way, and I can't see anything more about this than kudos to them for building it the right way. Not just like if there is in the main event a reveal of a group. Kudos to TNA for not doing the shotgun thing and doing what people wanted right away. Tell a story to build this division, and there is no other reason that they're doing what they're doing if the Knockouts titles weren't the end game. So I firmly believe that. I don't think it'll disappoint us. I hope it's Bound for Glory. I just don't know. We'll see next week. I guess there's a 3-way, right?
But we've got this next week's show, and then we've got the go home show. Back to Bound for Glory, right?
So yeah.
Next week they go home. So I hope on the go home they announce that those 3 teams are going to be in the match, and they're bringing back tag titles. And I hope to introduce them or to bring them into present them is Taylor Wilde. First champion. She wants to come back. Do it. Pull the trigger. Why the hell not?
I think we could see maybe her and Sarita bring them out, right? Weren't they the first together?
Yeah, but Sarita got arrested about 3 days ago.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Assault charge and some others. Someone must have pissed her off. Put it that way. Someone must have
Okay.
pissed her off.
We'll talk about this off air. We're good.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe her and Hamada could start a team.
Maybe.
All right.
Then next tag team match, the Dinas Swinger and Crazy Steve. Love Dinas, love Steve, love Swinger. Didn't think it needed a match for that long, but hey.
It was, once again, I love all the characters involved and the wrestlers involved. Did very little for me, unfortunately. It was a comedy match that happened.
Yeah, just a standard match for Johnny Swinger. Just move on. Then very, very quickly, Kylie Ray had an interview with Mean Gia Miller and was interrupted by the curator, Kimber Lee. Kylie got annoyed and laid her out.
Yeah, Kimber and Deonna. Yeah, man. But Kimberly was obviously the one involved in this. I love it. I think we do need to see a slightly edgier side of Kylie to win. Obviously, something's going to happen with Susie and Su Yung. I don't know if it's Kylie's time as far as beating Deonna. I would love Deonna to have a nice run with this. Maybe a Su, causes her the match. Whatever. We'll get into Bound for Glory. We have another thing to show for that. But I like this. It needed to be done. I love the evolution of Kimber because, like I said before, I was a huge fan of her prior to even joining Impact, and the opportunity for her to come here and then the opportunity they saw or they're giving her now that they see like, oh yeah, she's good. Yeah. This is perfect for her to be part of with Deonna, and this just furthers that. So I'm happy there. And once again, that's another 2 tag teams we have for this Knockouts division.
And we're coming back in. Are we back? There we go. Okay, we're back. So then, just not going on too much of a tangent, but what I wanted to see at Victory Road when Kimberly and Deonna were beating the crap out of Susie, obviously because it's pre-taped, I was hoping lights go down, then obviously cut through, lights come back up at Su Yung. When I was going through, I was like, turn off the lights, turn off the lights, turn off the lights. I want to see it. Didn't happen, which kind of sucks, but I wanted to see that. Then negotiations take. And Scott, fantastic.
All right, I'm losing you a little. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. All right. Two different continents. We're making this work. So yeah, I'll make this short and sweet. We already said what we had to say about Scott D'Amore. But let me say something about Heath because I'm grown enough now to admit when I am wrong, and I try to mention this every time I talk about Heath. This dude continuously proves me and that hiring, well, my thought of that hiring completely wrong. Okay, I thought we got what Heath could do in WWE, and yes, he could still do that, but on a whole different level. And now that he easily could have went of, oh yeah, here's what I want, and Scott says, oh great, you're part of the thing, or whatever, part of the roster. It went a completely different way than I thought it would, and I liked it because what it does is it quickly changes the guy that you thought was just this comedy guy who just needs a job for his kids and needs a job for this, to a grown man who knows what he brings to the table. I think that's the best way to put it. So now you have a guy who shows that and then goes out and shits on Terry as well, Rhino, and is pretty frustrated. So what do we get now? Are we getting that next step of Heath? And I think it leads and is the reason that beautifully shot vignette there that happened, or whatever you want to call this segment. We are getting, once again, more seeds planted for something bigger, right? We always said it from day one. We don't think Heath and Rhino are there for together forever. It's not going to happen. So, and even though I liked their tag team, I have to admit that I liked it against Reno Scum. I thought it was a pretty above average match. But once again, we're seeing Heath surprise us with another evolution of Heath. I think he can be, and I will admit that I was wrong. I can see what you were saying in the fact that Heath could eventually go back and be the third 3MB member to win the heavyweight title. Do I think in time he sees that as important to him? I don't know. We'll see where he is at with Impact. WWE is where it is right now as far as being the place to be or not being the place to be for people. But Heath, man, this guy, I don't know why I call it kid, he can go. And he can go on the money. Go in any role you give him. He's a bigger, more modern day Eric Young in a way. He could be a utility player that could do anything you need him to do and do it to the best of his ability and do it above average.
Yeah.
But I really think this leads to something more. And
it has to.
So I'm excited for that. I just keep getting pleasantly surprised by what he brings to the table. And kudos to him and Impact Management for bringing him on board, and for you for kind of seeing that ahead of time. Just stoked with the results of his hiring.
I mean, I was one of them who wasn't keen on Heath joining Impact. I wasn't there. Because WWE left a big stain on him after everything they put through there, and I didn't want that negativity brought to Impact, especially after all the ex-WWE guys and making them the top guys straight away. They need to be top guys straight away. But yeah, I mean, it was a great segment, and with the whole WWE thing, again, don't get too much into it because we have another show for that. But I think he did mention on Impact, I don't know if it was just for that segment or whether it actually happened. He did say that Raw offered him a contract after his last thing with Drew. I don't know if it's true. If that's his case and he didn't sign, I'd take that as a sign of hope that maybe he does want to be a bigger that guy elsewhere.
Well, I think what it is it's a matter of the right now, and right now I think he's fully aware, being a professional in his craft and in the business, and being a veteran there, he knows that the moment he signs, it's no guarantee of what they will do to him now that they realize what they're missing. And I think for his creativity and his artistic side, you kind of need to run the course with Impact, if not for the short while, for a long while, to be who you want to be. Galloway did it. McIntyre.
As far as anyone else in WWE is aware, Drew didn't do anything in TNA.
Right.
Drew did nothing in TNA as far as that 24 documentary. You've seen it. Not even a mention.
Which is odd. Yeah. That's another story for another show. But I agree with you completely. I'm happy to have Heath aboard. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
He's proven everyone wrong, and I like it. So then, found out more time for this segment. Didn't need it. The funeral of the TNA World Title. Funeral.
Yeah. We have a main event to go to. So I'll fly by this quickly. I think it was not a letdown. I think I just got hyped about what a funeral for the TNA Championship could look like. Not being thrown off of obviously short bridge that you could hear the belt fall. You could hear the thump. So really not a burial, just more of a little segment to I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
It was a
yeah, I kind of was again. I was going to say, when I was thinking about it, I was going to say that it was a letdown, but I think that's quite strong. It's because we built it up in our minds as something huge. Like we get like I don't know some former TNA World Champions there to give it a send off. Moose comes back and saves it in the ring. I thought along those lines. So I won't say it's a letdown, but it could have been better.
fair. It's a fair point.
So then my phone unlocks. Excuse me. Yep, main event. Should have known. Motor City Machine Guns defeat Ace Austin and Madman Fulton in a non-title match with the kind. I won't see how, but the Good Brothers and the North did come out from the match, which was to be expected.
Yeah, continue the storyline. A lot of moving parts. Obviously, are going to happen going towards Bound for Glory just because of the nature of it. I mean, you have a lot of groups or tag teams or individuals in a multiple person match, so it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's hard for me to judge anything. Now, I think the match got a lot of time. It got 20 something minutes, which was awesome. Or 20 some change. Anytime you get to see Motor City wrestle, it's a blessing and wonderful. Ace and Madman keep developing. This tag division, though, is what I'm going to get at. Not the match so much. The match was good and it did what it needed to do and told the story. But I firmly believe, and we'll talk about Mount for Glory, that I still think Motor City loses it just because the TNA fan in me knows like something. It can't always be perfect, right? There's got to be a give here. But the result of that is, yes, I'd be upset that Motor City lost, but I wouldn't give a shit if any of these three other teams won, because not like in a bad way. I mean, like in a negative way. I wouldn't care. I would be happy with it because what they have done in such a short period of time of the Good Brothers joining Impact, I mean, since Slammiversary, they have completely renovated, reinvented, whatever the hell what term you want to use, reinvigorated this division with 4, if not more. I mean, we're not counting Triple XL. We're not counting TJP and Follow if they get back together. We're not counting Reno Scum or the Rascals. These 4 right here are amazing. From entrance to what they deliver backstage to what they deliver on TV, it's just too good to be true right now. And I'm pushing my TNA fandom aside and down so I can not get my hopes up too much. But I want to say that we are on the verge of a real renaissance for this division.
So now, with my feelings on this match, I have 2 opinions. One is a good opinion, which I think many people agree with. One, I think, could get me lynched by the Impact fandom.
Okay.
But so I'll go with the good one first to get the good thing. I was thinking about the Good Brothers and how when they came in, how much they've already done for the tag division in such a short time. That kind of reminds me of when Team 3D came into Impact and how it blew up the tag division. One of the biggest and most well-known tag teams in the world come in and make an instant impact, pun intended.
Right.
So I think and obviously we've been talking about the other tag teams in the division. They aren't top tag teams. They weren't when the 3D came in because they're still the Rock and Rave Infection. Right. Those type of teams. So it wasn't, but around the title picture, it's flawless. Currently, it's flawless.
Yeah.
So now onto my next one, which I'm really, really dreading. I think you may kill me as well. Again, watching this match and Machine Guns. Love Chris Sabin. I think he's one of the most underrated wrestlers that's ever been in Impact.
Okay.
Most underrated. Alex Shelley. Now, I didn't get to see a lot of him from when I first started. He wasn't there when I first started watching. And from what I saw, everyone told me Alex Shelley and Machine Guns was one of the absolute best best wrestlers in the world. I don't know if I'm missing it. I just can't see it. So I maybe it's just my I don't maybe I'm thinking it. Maybe people hyped him up too much for me. I don't understand why people are so obsessed with him. I know he's charismatic, there's no doubt about that. And he can wrestle.
So to clarify, just really quick, not to interrupt, to know this before you go on any further. Are you saying that you don't get Alex Shelley, or you don't get why he's called such a great wrestler?
I get Alex Shelley. I don't understand why people are hyping him up that much as a wrestler and as a.
Oh, in general, as a.
Yeah, he's good. I get it. He's really good. But people hyped him up a lot.
Okay, so here's what I'll say here is this is definitely a different, a long talk that we could have elsewhere. But I will say this. I understand with what has been presented so far that maybe you're not seeing the technical great ability of Alex Shelley that you would get in a one-on-one match or a long one-on or two-on-two tag team match. The way they're showing him is a little different. Now, does their age have anything to do with that? I don't think so necessarily. I think actually Alex Shelley is a more complete wrestler now than he's ever been as far as putting it all together. Alex Shelley, to me, and I know Josh pushes it on commentary. Is he one of the best wrestlers of all time? No. I don't know if anyone's ever said that or that he's one of the best technical wrestlers of all time. He can go, and if you watch those early X Division stuff, he did bring a lot of English style and submission style wrestling to a division that was flips and dives. Okay, so he has a well-rounded game. I'll say that. But as far as a character and a charismatic individual, dude's a rock star. He looks the part, he acts the part, and when he goes out there, you gravitate towards him on screen. Will I say it's his wrestling that does that for me? No. Will I say it is him as a character, as him as what I see on TV? Yeah, man. I just feel like he's got this different aura to him than somebody else. If you could agree with that, we're in a good place. If you say that you don't see why people good or not good, is something more special than just the average wrestler, then we'll have an issue. Oh, of course,
Well,
cat.
Timber. Okay, so I feel like I should clarify something. Right. I've gone back and watched stuff on Impact Plus with Alex Shelley involved in matches. Not too much Machine Gun stuff, but with Alex Shelley from like 2006, around that time. I've seen it and fully remember is matches I can fully remember of Alex Shelley are the Chris Candido Cup.
Wow.
Yeah, it's because I watched it recently, and his feud with Bob Backlund.
Ah, man, okay, no.
See, people haven't recommended any good matches to me. I've gone and find some. I don't know a good match to maybe for me to see it. I haven't. Yeah.
Let me be honest. A lot of his individual singles work that's the best was probably more in ROH, and he never really got a run as a singles too much in Impact. Even when he was the X Division champion, he really wasn't a big reign or anything. So I don't think he ever got to do that. Once again, that's also, especially if you read Mick Foley's book, it's a lot of it's more reprimanding of him and Saban's attitude backstage, childish ways sometimes. But a lot of the things you're going to see with Impact, you're going to look up with him, is going to be the Motor City Machine Gun stuff. Their matches with Generation Me, the matches with Beer Money, the best of 5 with them. You go out and watch those and go from there. And I can give you some more. But as far as right now, I think we can both agree that when Motor City comes out with the music, the look, the things they do, they feel important, right?
Yes. There's Machine Guns, when they come out, it's like, oh damn, it's the Motor City Machine Guns. Arguably one of the best tag teams in TNA history.
So just stay with that mentality, because here's the thing. Okay. Are you familiar with, well, you haven't even seen Jurassic Park, but are you familiar with the movie?
You're trying to get me killed.
With have you seen Wedding Crashers before?
Yes.
Okay. So Wedding Crashers to me is the reason that I don't listen to anybody else before I watch something. Because for weeks it was hyped up to me as the best comedy of all time. Best comedy of all time. You have to go see it. I've seen it 3 times in theaters. I was like, damn, okay. I'm very particular on my comedy. I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan, yada yada. I could go into that. Monty Python, I'm into older stuff. But I went and watched it and I was like, oh yeah, this was funny. I laughed out loud at a few things. But if I had watched it though, without anyone's hype, without anyone's thing, I would have said, oh, that's a pretty damn good comedy. I enjoyed that. But because people hype something up so much, it puts something in your head that wants you to say, it's not as good as they're saying, because the hype never lives up to what, very rarely in the world does the hype live up to it, right?
Mm.
So go under the impression that you never heard anyone else say anything about Alex Shelley besides what we're talking about right now. Go with that, and you'll be more happy. Because okay. I think that's what it comes down to. Is sometimes people hype up stuff without backing it up with fact or examples, and just say, "Oh no, you're just because he is the greatest." Well, why? Show me. So I'll send you some things off.
Yeah.
I'll send you some.
Yeah.
But fair point. I understand your point. But we can say that this match was enjoyable, and that Bound for Glory is going to be something legit.
Bound for Glory is going to be, if the card right now, if they just add Moose versus EC3 and a Call Your Shot gauntlet, card made.
Yeah.
And it's going to be incredible.
Yeah. And the women's title. I want Knockout's title in there. Tag title, excuse me. We'll use this as a natural transition because we're way over on time, but it was a lot to talk about past Victory Road, post Victory Road. We will use it as a transition to say that we will be having, you'll see the announcements. We already mentioned them earlier in the show. You'll see a couple announcements. I think we already hit up, you obviously are going to be part of it. I will be the Combat Republic, and I'm about to release one as soon as we're done filming this. It's going to be a really fun Zoom or Skype chat, whatever we do. It's going to be a lot of different podcasts that you guys are fans of or maybe listening to. And if you have anyone that you listen to that you want to nominate or hey, invite to this, please let us know and we'll do our best to get them on, because this is anyone who wants to join, we're excited to have on board. We just want to hype. Our job here is to hype up Bound for Glory, talk about it with like-minded people, and just enjoy Impact Wrestling. So look out for that, guys. Please send us your nominations, I guess, or people you think we would be interested in talking to as well. We're all for it. So thank you to all the ones that have joined so far. I also want to do a shout out to Mr. Miller at the Crippler, who is our first monthly box giveaway winner. You won't see what's in it until he opens it, but when he opens it, you will know, because we're going to do a little video put together and explain the rules for those who may have missed it prior. But that unboxing show has taken a world of its own, and thank you for that, guys. It's definitely our most watched video as far as on YouTube. Our power rankings last week almost hit 2,000 on Twitter. So you guys are taking care of us, and if there's anything we could do for you guys, we'll do it. So pay attention to the subscription boxes or subscription box crate giveaway. It's legit, and I hope you enjoy it, Mr. Miller. Other than that, do you have anything you want to touch on?
Yes, a couple of announcements. Keep an eye on our social media, because every Monday I'll have a little something, not a video, but I'll be live tweeting some stuff, and from the Impact Plus archives, which you'll help decide what I watch each week. And we're also putting putting in process a little thing for Bound for Glory, where we ask your opinions on some stuff, ask for some videos, but we'll figure out the details of that and we'll make an official announcement either on here at some point or on our social medias. But stay tuned for all that's coming up. Apart from that, you know what to do: like, share, subscribe, all that stuff.
Yeah, a lot going on. We're almost at 100, which means we almost get a sub name or URL, and we get to do live on YouTube, which is awesome. So thank you guys. Thanks for sticking with us and keep going and growing as we do. You know, we're going to keep popping out some content for you. As he mentioned, please, we'll just start by doing next. We're going to use them. Submit videos of just your favorite Bound for Glory match of all time. We'll make a nice little video package and make sure you guys are part of it. Also, Max and I will be back at it doing our first fall classic. You'll see that. It's going to be the music tournament that we've been getting your opinions on. So a lot of cool content coming from us. And the last one I want to mention is, speaking of Jurassic Park, obviously, we did a little spoof commercial. We haven't done a commercial in a long time. So excited to show you guys that. Go on our YouTube or find it on Twitter and give it a listen or a view. It's worth your while. Some pretty fun cameos.
You need to check that one out. It's
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
You need to check that one out.
It was fun. It's definitely the next step for us, and I think it's my execute because my damn cat, of course, is at it again.
So yeah, we'll just wrap it up here. Thank you for sticking with us for well over an hour.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for your thoughts. Stay tuned for the power rankings. Stay tuned to our social medias for everything we have coming up. Yeah, thank you all for everything you do. Keep interacting with us, and just really appreciate it. Nothing more we can say. Subscribe, do the whole thing. So we'll see you all next week.
From the most professional show on YouTube.
Take it easy.